today we have the rim and the bowl glued together and we have the outside sanded. So now what we're going to do is focus on the inside of the shield. First thing I do is set up my work area. I put a board down, then I take a towel, roll it up, and then place it like a donut underneath the shield to give the face a little padding so it doesn't scratch. This allows me to cant the shield at various angles while I work, and it keeps it from sliding around. Then I take a weight, put it on one extreme edge of the inside of the shield, and that allows me to free my hands up to work on sanding, and the shield won't rotate or slide around. Now what I'm going to use on the inside is the same belt sander I used on the outside. On some of the portions I go ahead and take off my dust collector. Since I'm wearing goggles and a mask anyway, I just don't like having the dust collector in my view so I can actually see what I'm working on, and it kind of gets in the way on some of the tighter areas. Now the tricks to the inside is this really steep angle down in here coming on your lower rings coming from the edge, because it's hard to sand that. The easiest way is if you buy a belt sander or have a belt sander that has just the thicker wheels, is instead of sanding with the bottom, I sand with the front edge. All you have to do is get in here on the edge and hold the front edge against the inside of the rim and slowly work your way around the inside and your way down from rings 1, or actually be 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. For those rings, all you have to do is use the front edge. And then as it starts to bottom out and curve, then you start using the front edge underneath, and then you can start attacking it the same way you did the outside for the topmost rings. Rings 1 and 2 are the inside of the shield. I'll show you a couple of each angle, and then we'll just leave it at that, and I'll come back and show you pictures and some other information on RomanArmy.talk or Roman Army Talk so that you can get this information. So first we'll start with the outer edge. Just that little sanding has already started to cut through these layers. When you use that front edge, it cuts through it pretty quickly, so you have to pay attention to what you're doing and make sure you're not taking away the normal shape of the shield. Then on the bottom, we're going to do the same thing as we did on the outside. All I'm doing is angling it across 2 outer edges of the shield, and then just slowly letting it rock back and forth at various angles, always staying perpendicular to your edge. And that's all we're going to do, is continue to do that until we get it smooth. Okay, I finished sanding the inside of the Aspis. If you notice, it's fairly smooth. There's not a whole lot of pits or major mistakes. You do tear a little bit of the rim up, just a little bit, using a belt sander, but that's real easy to go back and clean up with a hand sander, just a palm vibrating sander, after you're done putting. Now I want to make a couple points that I forgot to mention earlier just because I haven't done this in a while. One is the first thing, you're going to go through more belts on this inside. I went through a belt and a half on the outside. On the inside I went through 7 50 grit belts. Just because of the angles, it has a tendency to bind and rip your belts off your sander if you're not really careful. One thing to make that easier is use this front edge a lot. That's going to be your friend sanding the inside. Start on your upper rings and work your way down, because as you shallow out that bottom, that gives you more space to work. If you remember looking at the rings, you have these big steps from here to here to here, and that causes your sander to actually break. So if you smooth that down first and give yourself more space to drop your sander in there, you won't break as many belts. Another trick is to dull the edges of each ring before you start trying to actually sand them together. What I mean by that is use the front edge of your sander and go to each hard 90-degree edge on the inside and dull it and round it over and slowly start to dull all your edges using the front real lightly, and then that also makes it easier for your sander to get around the inside and hopefully will prevent it from binding as much and you won't break as many belts.